Assalamu alaikum. Brother, Honda Pilot number JKN 1293. Honda Pilot JKN 1293 is blocking. Please move your car. Jazakallah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Respected brothers and elders, mothers and sisters in Islam, we are thankful and we are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His bounties and blessings in our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase for all of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us in the company of the righteous in this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise us amongst the righteous on the day of Qiyamah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our lives with rahmah and mercy, as all of us are in the need of the rahmah and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So brothers and sisters, I'm just going to get directly to our work because we have less than an hour. We have Brother Wahid as well with us who will make at least 10 minutes announcement before Isha as well. And of course, we can have a lot more questions related to logistics and of course the details of Hajj after Isha as well. Just as a quick reminder, for those who are unable to attend or for those who still want to inshallah attend, we have our third seminar inshallah tomorrow in Islamic Center of Long Island, Westbury. That will be from 11 to 1. We'll have 2 hours of in-depth discussion inshallah. So if you need more details inshallah, we'll still continue this session tomorrow inshallah. I'll cover everything tonight, but if you need in-depth more detailed session, that will be tomorrow inshallah from 11 to 1. We'll try to have that live streamed as well. And our last session before leaving will be on the 27th, which is next Saturday inshallah, in the morning from 11 to 1 in Masjid al-Baqi Bethpage. So we have these 3 sessions inshallah, one tonight, one tomorrow, and one next Saturday inshallah. Brothers and sisters, let's continue towards the Hajj itself. The virtues of Hajj are well known to many of us. The rewards of Hajj, Rasulullah ﷺ himself mentioned, is nothing less than Jannah itself. Rasulullah ﷺ said the reward of Hajjul Mabrur, an accepted Hajj, there is no reward less than Jannah for Hajjul Mabrur, an accepted Hajj. Hajj also is of course one of the fundamental pillars of Islam. It is one of those components or commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Rasulullah ﷺ fulfilled 2 months and few days before his demise. Rasulullah ﷺ only performed 1 Hajj in his life. And that's why Rasulullah ﷺ said, "Khudu anni manasikakum." Take from me your manasik, the rulings of Hajj, for you may never find me again. So the Sahaba radiallahu anhu majma'een protected every single thing that they learned from the Hajj of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we will try our best, inshallah, to have our Hajj as close as possible to the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, there are a lot of restrictions and conditions and a lot of things that we need to abide by the laws now of the rulings of the place, but we will still try our utmost for whatever we can to keep our Hajj as close as Sunnah to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned whoever performs Hajj for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not engage in immoral conversation, immoral acts, and then he will return home as purified as the day that he was born to his mother. The hadith of Al-Bukhari wa Muslim. That remind us of 3 important things to remember, brothers and sisters. Immoral act, immoral conversation, which means be careful for the usage of your tongue in your Hajj. Be careful for how you use your tongue. You don't want to say anything that will hurt someone's feeling. You don't want to say anything that will cause any harm to anyone else. So be careful for how we use our tongue. So that's number 1 thing. Number 2, our bodies, immoral actions. Jazakallah khair. Immoral acts. Be careful for how we, act as self, protecting ourselves. And of course, one hadith of Rasulullah refers extra as jidal, in getting into heated argument with others. So our tongues, our actions, and specifically our anger must be protected while we are in Hajj itself. So brothers and sisters, when we prepare ourselves for Hajj, what can we do really to prepare ourselves for Hajj? So, honest question. Can I ask you an honest question? So all of us who are going for Hajj, I know we're a little concerned, we're a little panicked. Am I prepared? Am I not prepared? It goes through everyone's heart. Those who have gone many, many times, you're still going to panic a little bit. You're just going to have that little, adrenaline of what's happening. My question to all those brothers and sisters who are attending and going to Hajj is, are you more worried about, and this is genuine question, this is not about your iman or your Islam and your faith, you're getting extra credits or not, and getting better bed in Hajj or not. No, this is just a general question. Jazakallah khair. Are you more worried about logistics of your Hajj? Meaning, how do I land? How do I take a flight? And do I get a nice room or not? Not nice room, get a room on time or not? How do we transport ourselves? Or are you really more concerned that you're not really prepared for the practical Hajj itself? What's ihram? Meaning, think about it yourself. Genuinely, what are you more concerned about, right? That's something that you need to think about. I'm not even going to ask you to raise your hands, but think about what you are genuinely concerned about. If you're more concerned about logistics, that's perfectly fine. I am too. All of us should be. And make sure that you have a list of questions that you get answered before you leave home, because you really need that clarity itself. And that's why we have Brother Wahid, Dr. Sharif, and the rest of the, Brother Fakhr is here. The rest of the responsible brothers from Al-Iman are here so they can answer all of your questions related to your logistics. Make sure that you get them clearly answered, because that's important for us. You should leave when you're going for Hajj without having any concerns or issues, inshallah. That's number one thing. Number two, if you are concerned about not really being prepared for Hajj or really not being prepared, then we really need to start making effort on preparing ourselves for Hajj. So number one thing is that whenever we have these halaqat and gatherings, number one thing is to make sure that we listen to these talks attentively. Also, try to take notes if you can. It's important to take notes. These two presentations, the one that I shared last time that I will be doing tomorrow again, and this one, we can share with all of you, inshallah. If you can, I'll have the office from Al-Iman share these two presentations. You can have them on your phones, on your iPads. You can print them out. You can have them with you at all times. So it's important that you have these access notes with you at all times, these presentations. Also, read about Hajj guides. Hajj sets have been provided, and of course we'll provide these presentations to you in small guides as well, but I would definitely recommend to take something that you can really benefit from. Last time I did a Hajj presentation, I shared the name of a book. It's called Hajj and Umrah Journey, the Epic Journey of Hajj and Umrah by Sheikh Asim Ahmed from Buffalo Madrasa. Excellent book. Really like that book. It's done really nicely. You can order it through Amazon for like $15, but it's worth having. It's really, really good as an English book, as a good guide for you. But of course, we will share these presentations with you. Fadail Hajj by Sheikh Zakaria Rahmatullah Alayh is an excellent book to create the spirit of Hajj for us. It's not only about learning the Hajj itself, it's about making our heart ready for Hajj as well. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about preparing fatazawwad, to get zad and provision, the first thing the Quran mentions is at-taqwa. Make sure that your inner self is ready to perform Hajj. So you really need to get yourself ready in inner selves. And that's why the word Hajj in Arabic refers to al-qasd, irada and intention. So you really want to make sure that your heart is ready for this Hajj itself. And brothers and sisters, one thing I would kindly request you, that Hajj is a journey to change our lives. Hajj apni zindagi tabdeel karne ka mauka hai. It's time to change our lives. But if I don't intend to change my life before I leave for Hajj, the change will never come. For many, including myself, I already know that I have to go to Hajj. I'm going to cry in Arafah. I'm going to ask Allah for forgiveness. I'm going to come back and do the same exact thing as I'm doing, because I can't leave those things. Because I don't really want to leave them. Because I really don't intend even before leaving, brothers and sisters. I humbly request you, let this journey of Hajj be a time for change for us. An absolute, complete change. As ulama mentioned, that the help of Allah is with complete deen. There is no help of Allah with partial deen. And partial deen is no deen. So we cannot pick and choose the deen itself. So it's very important for us to make sure that we make this commitment from the very beginning. That, oh Allah, I'm taking this journey of Hajj and I want to change my life forever. Yes, we will make mistakes. Kullu bani Adam khata'un. Every child of Adam commits sins. وَخَيْرُ الْخَطَّائِينَ التَّوَّابُونَ. But the best of us are those who make tawbah upon it. But at least have intention of leaving it. Don't go with the intention, Ya Allah, I'll make tawbah, lekin aage karna wahi hai. I have to still do the same thing. No. Go with the intention that, Ya Allah, I want to change my life. Oh Allah, I want to come close to you. Oh Allah, I have left so many ahkamat. Oh Allah, I have left so many sunnah. Oh Allah, I want to go in this Hajj and change my life. Allah, meri zindagi badal de. Oh Allah, change my life. Make that intention before you leave, and it's very important to create that spirit even before we take this journey itself. So a few important points, of course, as we go for Hajj itself, is our intention that I just mentioned. Pakka irada, intention of changing our lives. Number 2 is to make firm tawbah and repentance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Huquq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if it's the haqq of Allah, if we have zakat, if we have sadaqat, if we have charity, if we have sadaqat, meaning any things that we need to provide as the haqq of Allah, make sure that we fulfill this. If it's the huquq of ibad, meaning the rights of people, we make sure that we fulfill the rights of individuals as well, because that's our responsibility. That, we will be held accountable on the day of Qiyamah by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So very, very important for all of us to make sure that we fulfill the haqq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and of course the huquq of people. And of course have firm trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this journey itself. Tawakkul and trust is something that we need to have. And of course, our reliance is not only on the madda and material that we have, but our reliance and tawakkul, of course, is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Choosing good travel companions, people that will really become a spiritual means of uplifting for you, having good people around you in Hajj. Finding good company, suhbat and companionship of good individual in your Hajj journey, inshallah, will double the effect of your Hajj and make it even better. When you prepare yourself for luggage, do not take unnecessary items. There's a lot of things that people overpack. Keep yourself light. Things that are needed and necessities, yes, okay, but don't overdo it for yourself. Don't overdo it in a manner that it becomes difficult for yourself. And try your best to save yourself from sin throughout the journey. Try your utmost. Do not let a moment come that we fall towards sins. Yes, we may do wrong, but make sure that you have the consciousness of Allah. That, Ya Allah, I'm in Hajj. Oh Allah, I'm about to do Hajj. Ya Allah, I'm going to go to Medina. Oh Allah, I'm going to wear my ihram. Oh Allah, save me from haram and wrong. Yes, we are not perfect. We are not 100%. We cannot be. We are not angels. We are not prophets. We're human beings. We make mistakes. But make sure that we have firm irada that, oh Allah, I want to protect myself from haram and sin. And your journey of Hajj, brothers and sisters, is a very blessed journey. Make this journey a journey full of dua and supplications. Every time that you are traveling, every time that you are in different areas in your Hajj, make dua a special part of your Hajj. Rasulullah ﷺ said, "Ad-du'a'u mukhal ibada." Dua is the essence. Dua ibadat ka maghaz hai. It's the essence of dua. It's the root of your ibadah itself. So make sure that you take time out in your journey and you make dua. Dua of a musafir, a traveler, is never rejected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So make sure that you make dua while you are traveling, while you are there. So every step of your journey, you try your best, inshallah, and make dua at all times. Before you are leaving your home and going towards Hajj itself, make sure you perform 2 rakats of nafal salah. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq and ability that, oh Allah, I'm taking this journey with your tawfiq. It's not my mal, it's not my strength, it's not my ability. Ya Allah, it's your qubuliyat. Ya Allah, you made me this as a means of acceptance. Oh Allah, accept. 2 rakat nafal before we are going. Making dua before we leave. And I also would add another thing is, if you can, give a little bit of sadaqah before you leave as well. Rasulullah ﷺ mentioned that sadaqah will turn away so many difficulties away from the life of an individual. So when you're going, $1, $2, $5, $10, whatever Allah gives you tawfiq, make 2 rakat salah, make dua, give a little bit of sadaqah before you go for this journey, inshallah. Leave your family and belonging in the trust of Allah, in the tawakkul of Allah, in the trust of Allah, and express joy of leaving for the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rather than grief. This is a time that Allah has accepted you and you're going for Hajj itself. What are some of the good things to keep in your hand luggage itself? There are many, many things. These are just some things that this is not my presentation. This is one of the alim who shared with me. It's a great presentation I'm sharing with you. Hopefully by next year I'll have my own, but this is something that I got from him. So some food, something that you can take with you on the go. Sometimes you can keep some little bit of food and snacks with you on the go. If you really really need to. You don't really have to. You can keep a pocket Quran with you if you want. Sometimes our phones have them, but you can easily get the pocket Qurans there as well. Sometimes it's hard to carry the Quran with you in your journey itself. But if you think you can really take care of it, not put it on the floor, it's not going to go anywhere else, then yes, you can have it with you so you can engage in reading the Quran. If you feel comfortable reading on your phones, alhamdulillah. If you don't feel comfortable, then take a mushaf with you, or you can get a mushaf there as well where you can read from. Take a book where you can read dua as well. There are many, many books which have different adiyah, the dua from the Prophet ﷺ's life. Get a book of dua, or maybe an app of dua. There are so many books. There's a book called Hisbul Azam. It's a book which contains all the supplications from the authentic hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, known as Hisbul A'zam. It's an Arabic book. You can get a PDF. You can read it easily. It's amazing. Your Hajj and Umrah guide should always remain with you. It's also good to have a travel musalla with you. If you have a small musalla that you can keep with you as a travel, it's always good that sometimes you need it. Sometimes you may not find a place. It's always good to have something like that. If you're going directly towards Mecca, most of us are not going there. You can keep your ihram with you while you're going. But for most of us in Al-Iman, we are going directly to Medina, so we do not need our ihram. But if you're going towards Jeddah first and you're going towards Mecca first, make sure that you have ihram with you. You have your flip-flops with you, meaning if you're performing your umrah in the beginning. If you don't have to perform your umrah, then you don't really need your flip-flops in the beginning. You can have anything afterwards. Your attar, your perfume, your medication, your side bag, and of course your passport's ticket, and also your vaccine certification. Another thing that I would request you is that your passport and your visa, when you receive them, make 2 extra copies and put it in your luggage somewhere. May Allah forgive if you lose anything like that. So you have extra copies in 2 different luggages. So keep an extra copy of your passport in your handbag, maybe in one luggage, in the other luggage. Keep it there for all the members that are going. So may Allah forgive if you lose it or something happens, you always have your copy of your passport in any of the luggages. Even if you misplace one of your luggage, the other luggage actually will have a copy. So it's always good to have an extra copy of your passport, or either now with the phones that we have, just take a picture so at least you have something accessible with you at all times. Moving further, there are 3 types of Hajj that are performed. The first type of Hajj is known as Hajj Ifrad. It's one entering into the state of Ihram once with the intention of Hajj only. No Umrah is performed. This Hajj is usually for those brothers and sisters who are ifaqi, meaning those who live in the vicinity of Haram. This is not for the people who are traveling from outside. Those who travel from outside, which are us, we have the choice between the last 2 types of Hajj. Either we perform Hajj Tamattu, or either we perform Hajj Qiran. What is Hajj Tamattu and Hajj Qiran? Hajj Tamattu means that you will perform, one enters into Ihram twice, meaning you will enter into the state of Ihram twice, meaning performing Umrah first, then after your Umrah is complete, you will remove this Ihram, you will come out of the state of Ihram, and then again when the days of Hajj begin on the morning of the 8th of Zul-Hajjah, you will re-enter into the state of Ihram and you will begin your Hajj again with a second Ihram. Second Ihram, I'll talk about it just a moment, doesn't mean the pieces of clothing. It means the state of Ihram itself. Hajj Qiran means that one enters into the state of Ihram once. With that state of Ihram, they perform their Umrah and they perform their Hajj in the same Ihram itself. That doesn't mean same clothing of Ihram. It means the same intentions of Ihram. And I'll explain all of this in just a few seconds. According to Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, the most rewarding Hajj itself is Hajj Qiran, which is the most virtuous Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, then Hajj Tamattu and Hajj Ifrad. But now this is a big thing now. For many of us, because we will have few days for those brothers and sisters who are in B2, B3, you will be in Makkah Mukarramah for a few days before Hajj actually begins. For those who are in B1, B4, and B5, you will be actually landing the day when the Hajj actually begins itself. So for those who are in B2 and B3, it's very, very recommended that you perform Hajj Tamattu. Why? Because once you perform your Umrah and your Umrah is complete, you can come out of the state of Ihram, and for the next 4 or 5 days to 6-7 days while you are in Mecca, you are not in Ihram. You're in ease, you're in comfort, you can go in Haram without having to wear Ihram or without to do the restrictions of Ihram. You can easily make that choice. But for the brothers and sisters who are flying in B1, B4, and B5, which is they're flying in on the 7th of Zul-Hajjah and coming on the morning of the 8th to Jeddah, they have a choice. Why? Because as soon as we perform our umrah, and we do our sa'i, now we have to go towards Mina. So you have a choice to either do qiran and tamattu both. Most of the people choose tamattu, that's why we will do tamattu, and I'll go over the ahkamat of tamattu. But if you do plan upon doing qiran, feel free to ask your questions, and inshallah we'll help you in any way that we can. So now when we are in coming into the state of ihram, and for many of us, we will wear our ihram in Madinatul Munawwara. When we are leaving Madinatul Munawwara, we will wear our ihram. Some of us will wear, all of us should wear our ihram in our Medina hotel rooms because they are much cleaner, they are much better, and you wear your ihram within your Medina hotels itself. So there are three things to know about ihram: when, what, and how. So let's go to some of these things. When to come into the state of ihram? There are three possibilities. If you're going to Medina first, then you don't need to wear ihram while you're in your flight. That's for many of us. If you're going to Mecca first, which most of us are not, then either if you're going to a direct flight, you wear your ihram from home and do not make intention until you reach the area of miqat, or transferring flight that is taken towards there. So now these are the maqamat, or the areas known as the maqams of ihram, meaning the areas which is known as the maqam or the miqat itself. If you enter any of these areas, you must be in the state of ihram itself. So when you land in Jeddah, you actually cross the borders of ihram, the miqat. So if you're going to Mecca first and landing in Jeddah, you must be in ihram. But if you are landing in Medina, you are out of the limitation of miqat, and you are not intending to do umrah first anyway, so you don't wear ihram while you're going to Medina itself. So now, what is ihram? Ihram does not mean to wear two pieces of clothing, actually. Ihram doesn't actually only mean this. Ihram has a larger meaning. Ihram is a condition that a person comes into after intention and talbiyah. There are two things that make you enter into ihram: your intention and your talbiyah, while wearing the clothing of ihram itself. This makes certain things that were lawful before us unlawful upon themselves. Hence, if someone wants to change clothing for ihram, and women want to change their clothing for ihram, you can do as many times as you want. So changing the clothing of ihram doesn't take you out of ihram. So this is a big misconception that if I remove my ihram clothing, if I rinse myself with water, if I change a new pair of ihram, do I come out of? No, that's perfectly fine. Women and sisters, because of heat and things, if you want to change your clothing for ihram, you can definitely do that. For the brothers, if you want to change your ihram, your clothing itself, you can change your ihram, so you don't come out of the state of ihram. So ihram literally means to come into the condition of ihram itself. So how? Things to do from home, or of course your Medina hotel room. I would prefer that you bathe and take a shower before leaving. It says home, but of course your hotel room in Madinatul Munawwara. Because the brothers and sisters who are in B2 and B3, you will be going to Mecca on buses, and you will stop in an area known as Abyar Ali, Dhul Hulayfa, which is the miqat of Medina. It is about 20 minutes away from the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you sit in the bus, all of the group, they travel and they stop in Dhul Hulayfa. You stop there, it's a big masjid. People usually take showers and change ihram. I would prefer you do all of this in your hotel room because it's much cleaner, it's much better. Because over there, if you drop your ihram or their bathrooms are not clean, then you don't have extra ihram upon you. So do all of that. Once you reach Dhul Hulayfa, the only thing that you need to do, which I'll talk about in just a few moments, is you make 2 rakats of salah, and you make intention and talbiyah. You enter into ihram. You don't wear your ihram there. You wear your ihram from your hotel room. The brothers and sisters who are in B1, B4, and B5, for us, we will be flying from Medina and we will be coming towards Jeddah. For us, we will also wear our ihram in Madinatul Munawwara in our hotel rooms. We'll perform our 2 rakats in our hotel or the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. And once we reach the Medina airport and we board the flight, that's the time where we will make the talbiyah and intention and enter into ihram itself, because our miqat will be in our plane itself. For those who are taking the bus in B2 and B3, you will stop in miqat. So you can make your intention, your talbiyah, everything there. For those who are flying in B1, B4, and B5, our miqat will become the airport. Why? Because as soon as the airport takes off, the plane takes off, we will cross the miqat and we have to be in ihram at that moment. So now, of course, things to do before you come into the state of ihram in your Medina hotel room. Bathe, take a shower, clip the nail, remove unwanted hair, wear 2 pieces of cloth of ihram for the male. For the sisters, you can wear anything that can cover your body so long as your face is not directly visible. For our sisters and mothers who veil and they do naqab, for them they can wear a hat or anything that will cover them as a shade, and they can drop a cloth in front of them that the clothing does not directly touch their face, just so that they can keep the modesty and haya and the veil for them itself. That's something that they can do. For the brothers, we will keep everything off except for 2 pieces of clothing. There's no undergarment. There's nothing else that a person can wear at that very particular moment. I'll talk about shoes in just a second. After bathing, but before the niyyah and intention is made, it is mustahab that you can actually put atar and fragrance on your body. It is mentioned in the hadith that al-Mu'mineen, our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, while they were performing Hajj, she herself put atar and fragrance on the body of Rasulullah ﷺ before he wore his ihram. Meaning this is sunnah, mustahab, that you can put fragrance or atar on your body before you wear your ihram and your intention. Even though that atar and fragrance will touch your ihram afterwards, that's perfectly fine. So long as it's done before your niyat and before you recite the talbiyah. So it is mustahab to apply fragrance. The sisters can use something which is, of course, an odorless deodorant or anything else. All of these things can be actually used on our bodies before we make the intention and recite the talbiyah itself. For the brothers, of course, our shoulders should be covered at all times, except when we are doing tawaf. A lot of time people keep their right shoulder empty. The only time the men are allowed or supposed to keep their right shoulders empty is the rounds that they go around the tawaf 7 times. As soon as you complete the 7 rounds, you got to cover it again. Don't keep it exposed. You will see so many people keeping their shoulders empty. The only time that the men are allowed to keep their right shoulder empty and uncovered is the time that they begin their tawaf till they end their tawaf. And right after that, they need to cover. So in your journey, make sure, except during tawaf, your shoulder is covered. If there's a fanny pack, if there's a bag or anything that you need to wear which has sort of stitches, you're perfectly allowed to wear those bags as well. You can wear belts as well for the brothers. If you want a belt to cover and protect your ihram, that's also allowed. For your shoes, it's recommended to wear something that will keep your tarsal bone open, which is the upright protruding bone itself. It doesn't have to be always the flip-flops. I have some pictures in the other slides. I don't have this on me, but I can show you like the slides that the kids wear these days, meaning the slides that you have these days that are used, which are very comfortable. You can use those slides as long as your protruding bone on top of your feet and your ankles and the back portion of your heel is exposed. You're perfectly fine and you can wear that. For sisters, you have no restrictions. You don't have to wear flip-flops. I would recommend you wear something that is sturdy for you so that you can walk comfortably. Wear sneakers, wear socks, wear light boots, anything or sandals that will keep your feet covered properly so that you can walk with ease and comfort itself. So that's only in the time of ihram. So sisters, you have no conditions of wearing shoes or any particular type of shoes itself. So how to actually come into the state of ihram? Perform 2 rakats of sunnah salah, avoiding makruh time. That's before coming into ihram. First rakat, you recite Qul Ya Al-Kafirun. Second rakat, you recite Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Praying salah with your head covered and of course making dua because you have not actually entered ihram itself. Remove head covering and make niyyah for umrah. As soon as the men, you are done with making 2 rakats of salah, you can uncover your head with a topi, with a hat, or even the cloth that you are having, and now you make the niyyah. So now the men cannot cover their face or their head. The only thing that they cover their body with the 2 pieces of clothing. Now you do 2 things. Talbiyah, you recite it loudly, and of course you recite it 3 times for male. Once is a condition, once is a shart. 3 times is masnoon, it's sunnah. Send darood and blessings on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and of course you make the niyyah. The niyyah is very simple and very easy. It is in English, Urdu, whatever language. Allahumma inni uridul umrah. Oh Allah, I make intention of umrah. Fayassirha li wa taqabbalha minni. Oh Allah, make it easy for me, accept it from me. Simple and easy. Allah, umrah ki niyat karta hu, asan farma, qabul farma. Simple and easy. If you're doing umrah or hajj badal on behalf of someone, this is a time for you to also make intention as well. If you have already performed your hajj, first hajj, now it's time for you to make umrah and hajj Hajj Badal contains both the niyat. So even before Umrah, you need to make the intention of Hajj Badal itself. Do not make intention and recite Talbiyah if wearing ihram from home. Meaning if you are still a little far away from miqat, wait till miqat till you make the intention itself for us. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. These words should be memorized not only in Arabic, but I would say the meanings of these words. Learn what these words actually mean. Learn what you are telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Learn what you are speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Labbaik, Allah mein hazir hu. Allahumma labbaik, mere Rabb mein hazir hu. Oh Allah, I'm present. Oh Allah, I'm present. Labbaik, oh Allah, I'm present. La sharika lak. There is no sharik and associate to you. Labbaik, oh Allah, I'm present. Innal hamda, all praise, wa ni'ma, and all blessings, laka. It's all for you. Wal mulk, and all the kingdom is for you. La sharik, there is nothing which is equivalent to you as an associate partner. So when we say this, make sure that we say this from the depth of our hearts, knowing the meaning of it. Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu narrates that he said that the person who dons the ihram in the morning, then continues to recite the talbiyah till the evening, his sins are forgiven in such a way that it will be as though his mother has given him birth that day. Meaning if you recite the talbiyah the whole day while you're traveling from your journey, the time that you finish your talbiyah and you begin your next amal, all of your previous sins have been forgiven. It is as though that you were just given birth today. Only your hasanat remains. Talbiyah is the most virtuous zikr that you can do when we have to be in ihram itself. So as much talbiyah that we can do, it's the most virtuous zikr. Recite individually, not collectively. For the brothers, you can read a little louder. For our mothers and sisters, because of the parda and modesty, they should recite in not in a louder voice, but in a lower voice that their own ears can actually hear, not other people who can hear them loudly. Prohibitions in ihram: wearing perfume, using perfumed items such as soap and toothpaste and wipes. I would recommend keep a little bit of fragrance-free soap if you have, just so that if you need some time to wash, you will have them in Mina and other places. But when you are traveling in your journey, you may not find them. So it's always good to have small travel packets of fragrance-free soaps. It's always helpful. You stop in service areas, you stop in airports, you need to use a bathroom. If you're in ihram, then you really need to use soap, so you can keep that accessible. It's very, very helpful. Clipping nails or removing hair, covering of the head for the men, wearing any sewn clothing undergarments for men, killing lice or insects, intimate talk or action, even between the husband and wife. This is all forbidden while a person is in ihram itself. Permissible acts in ihram, of course, wearing ring, glasses, hearing aids, money belts, changing ihram clothing, taking a bath in a shower without rubbing rigorously. You reach from Medina to Mecca, you settle in your hotel room, it's so hot, you're sweating and you feel like, I'm drenched. I need to just rinse myself with water. Take off your ihram, hang it on the ropes, and rinse yourself with water. Don't use soap, don't use fragrance. Just rinsing yourself with water so you can feel a little bit comfortable. Wear your ihram and you can go back. You can perfectly do that. It's permissible acts in doing that. Covering oneself when resting, avoiding face and head. If you're in the plane, if you are in the bus, their journey is a little long when you're coming towards Mecca. So a lot of time people go to sleep and they cover their faces. Avoid covering your faces when you are traveling, because you cannot have your face covered while you are in the state of ihram. Permissible acts in ihram is odorless Vaseline. Is it Vaseline or any ointment that you really need for yourself? While you're traveling, you're allowed to use that. Using miswak, but not toothpaste. Yes, there is toothpaste which is without fragrance itself. There are so many other that you can also use, but of course, most recommended action in your ihram is to use miswak itself. It's sunnah. Rasulullah ﷺ said, your ajr of your reward is 70 times more. The ihram that you have for umrah is for a few hours, from the time that you leave from Medina and you reach Mecca. The ihram for Hajj is less than 48 hours. It's not a lot of time. A lot of time people are scared. Oh, ihram, yar ihram. No, it's not. It's less than 48 hours. You wear ihram on the morning of the 8th of Zul-Hajjah. The morning of the 10th, you're out of ihram. So you're not in ihram for a very long time. Less than 48 hours, you're in ihram. So it's not a big time that you are in ihram. So try your best. If you're not going to have all your cosmetic needs and your, whatever creams and ointments for 48 hours, it's fine. You're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So sometimes we become very critical. Why can't I use that? Allah is Kareem, we can use this. Allah is Kareem, do it for 2 days, 48 hours, Leave it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just so the things that creates doubt, avoid that. Rasulullah ﷺ said, things that create a doubt in your mind, then leave them. So that's also a part of betterment of our ihram itself. During the journey, continue with dhikr and talbiyah. Stay away from sin and futile activities. A lot of time you'll find new friends, new individuals. Conversations will start. People start talking about politics. People start talking about sports. They will completely forget where they are. Do not get yourself engaged in conversation, which will lead you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be prompt in making your salah, even when you're in aircraft, even when you're a musafir. Make sure that you're making your salah. You're making qasr salah when you are traveling. It is important to learn the masail of musafir as well. We're not going to Jeddah, so I'm just going to quickly leave that. When you get to your hotel, you take your hotel place, settle down, eat, take some rest if needed, even in Medina. And when you feel physically and mentally prepared that you're ready to go and perform Umrah, then you're ready to go and perform Umrah. Once we leave Medina and we come towards Mecca, and inshallah, once we reach Medina, we will go over the ziyarah of Medina. We'll talk about Medina, we'll talk about the adab of Medina, how to visit the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We will take a practical, physical, walking trip of the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, seeing everything physically. It's so beautiful. I love that portion. That we'll do that once we are there, inshallah. But once we leave Medina and we are coming towards Mecca, and you don't have to perform your Umrah right away. You can take some time physically, mentally, get yourself prepared. And of course, you can perform your Umrah. Remember, you must go to Masjid al-Haram for all your salat and your prayers. Please do not delay. A lot of time they say, oh, we can go and pray in our hotel rooms. You can play in the balconies where they have these special salah places made. We went so far, brothers and sisters. Make a little sacrifice. Go to Haram and make sure that we make our salah. Once we reach the Kaaba in our first sight and entering to the masjid, we enter the masjid with our right foot, recite Bismillah, recite Durood on the Prophet and make dua. Allahumma aftah li abwaba rahmatik. Oh Allah, open the doors of your rahmah and make niyyah for i'tikaf when you enter the Kaaba. Slowly walk towards the Kaaba with your gaze lowered. Move out of the pathway and stop at a quiet spot. Once you see the Kaaba for the first time, recite takbir, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Tahleel, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah 3 times. And then you take some time and you make dua until you are content. I humbly request you, brothers and sisters, this is one of the maqam that you don't want to miss making dua. There are a few places in your Hajj that I will repeat again and again. This is one of those maqamat. Do not forget to make dua. Second, of course, is Arafah. The third is the morning of Muzdalifah. And then there are other times that I will mention as well. But this is one of the great maqam that pour your heart out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't rush, ya umrah karna hai, haram se nikalna hai, we got to go back. Don't worry about it. Go with the contentment of your heart. Even if someone wants to rush, tell them, I want to take some time and I want to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you take your time and make your heart content and make dua as much as you can when you enter Mecca for the first time and you see the Kaaba for the first time. Acceptance of dua. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered Mecca and saw the Baytullah, he lifted his hand and he recited the takbir from Fathul Rabbani. Abu Umama radiallahu anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the dua is accepted when seeing that Baytullah. When you see the house of Allah, your dua is accepted. I personally feel that when you go back to your hotel and you come back and you see Baytullah, Allah is Kareem, Allah will still accept your dua. So don't think it's only for the first time. Allah will give you every time. Of course, it's a different feeling when you see it for the first time, but every time you go, don't despair from the mercy of Allah. Allah is Kareem. Allah's treasures are so infinite that every time you walk in, Allah will give us, nothing will empty from the treasures of Allah. So make sure that you make this as a part of your entrance and making dua itself. The components of Umrah are 4. There are 2 farais and 2 wajibat. Fard is ihram, tawaf is fard, sa'i is wajib, and halaq and shaving is wajib itself, which is compulsory itself. So quickly, when we commence and we begin our tawaf for Umrah, remember that wudu is wajib. You must be in the state of purity before you begin your Umrah. If sisters are in the state of impurity, meaning major impurity, you cannot perform your Umrah. There are masails and issues which we can discuss, and of course we can have female scholars discuss these things with them if they have any particular questions. But for brothers, please make sure that you are in your wudu, you are in the state of purification when you begin your tawaf, because it's mandatory for you to be in the state itself, reciting takbir and talbiyah and Durood Sharif and locate Hajj al-Aswad. Once you locate and you go to the corner of Hajj al-Aswad, your talbiyah finishes. Talbiyah is only till you begin your tawaf itself. So from the time you left Medina until the time that you begin your tawaf, you are starting your tawaf, your talbiyah continues. Talbiyah finishes as soon as your tawaf actually begins. From there, the different dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins itself. So now you go to the corner where it says black stone. This is the maqam that you see. Another maqam that you see between the black stone and the door itself, it says multazam, If you see in the corner itself right here, it says Multazam. This is the place between Hajr al-Aswad and the door of the Kaaba itself. This area where the cursor is moving, this is known as Multazim. Rasulullah ﷺ said the most readily accepted dua from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in this maqam. Rasulullah ﷺ went and he gathered his chest and he joined it with this wall, and he made a dua for a very, very long time itself. So where do we start our tawaf itself? So the starting of the tawaf itself is from this particular corner where it says start your tawaf. Anti-clockwise, and you face the Hajj al-Aswad, and you start moving this side towards Maqami Ibrahim, towards Hijr Ismail, towards the Iraqi corner, towards the Shami corner, towards the Rukn Yamani corner, and then you come back towards this side. Before I go towards the next slide, there's one thing that I want to remind. There is no particular dua in first round, second round, third round. There's a lot of books you will find. Pehle chakkar ki dua, dusre chakkar ki dua, first round. There's not sunnah dua. This is not from the hadith of Rasulullah. Real dua is which comes from your heart. You can read dua, you can read durood, you can read dhikr, you can say anything that you want. That's the true sunnah itself. The only thing that is masnoon and sunnah is that this is the first side, this is the second side, the third, this is the fourth side. The final side between the Yamani corner and Hajj al-Aswad, this corner, it is sunnah to recite Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhabana. Recite that as much as you can on the last wall itself. Whenever you come on the last wall, the corner from Yamani to Hajr Aswad, this is to recite. And when you recite this dua, brothers and sisters, remember what Rasulullah ﷺ taught us. Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, this dua tells us, oh Allah, give us the best of dunya, the best of akhirah. What is the best of dunya, Ya Rasulullah? The Prophet ﷺ said, a righteous spouse, obedient children, and abundant risk. नेक घर वाले रिश्तेदार मेरी मियाँ बीवी, नेक औलाद और वसी हलाल रिस्क, तीन चीजें दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी खैर है. So when you make this Rabbana atina fi dunya, keep this in your mind. Oh Allah, make my spouse righteous. Oh Allah, make my awlad spouse. Oh Allah, give me risk which is abundant and halal and tayyib. So that's something that we need to keep in our minds when we make these dua itself. So we start from this very particular maqam. Maqam Ibrahim, which you see at this moment where the cursor itself is moving, originally Maqam Ibrahim was not here. Maqam Ibrahim actually was right next to the wall. I always had this question, how can the stone go up which is so far away from the Kaaba itself? This Maqam Ibrahim actually was moved back because of the rush that was causing from the tawaf of the people. If you go very, very close to the Kaaba, may Allah take us with afiyah, when you go just walk straight from Maqam Ibrahim to the Kaaba, you will see a spot which is still marked where Maqam Ibrahim actually was. So it was actually moved back. This is not the original spot of Maqam Ibrahim. It was actually attached to the wall of the Kaaba where this stone was, where Ibrahim as-salam put his footstep, and its marks are there and it would go up and down. It was this particular place, but of course it's moved back towards there. That's the exact spot where the Imam actually leads the Salah today. وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. The Quran says, make Maqam Ibrahim the musalla for the Imam. So even till today, 5 times salawat and prayers, the Imam leads there. When it's Taraweeh, they leave it in the back. But for Hajj, for a 5 times salah, that's where the Imam actually leads. So if you're on the roof someday, you're praying on the 3rd floor, you can see the Imam standing right in front of Maqam Ibrahim, next to the wall itself. So intention the tawaf itself. Stop reciting the talbiyah, observe ittiba. Proceed. Ittiba means that you uncover your shoulder. For the men, you uncover your right shoulders. For the sisters, you keep as you are. Now proceed towards Hajr Aswad in such a manner that your right shoulder is in line with its left corner. Make niyyah for your tawaf. Oh Allah, I intend to make tawaf of your sacred house, 7 circuits for your pleasure. Make it easy for me and accept this from me. Now you start moving a little bit towards the right until your chest is directly facing Hajr Aswad. Raise both of your hands to your ears as you begin making salah and recite the following. Bismillahi Allahu Akbar wa lillahi alhamd. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. That you could send the praise of Allah and of course darood and blessings on the Prophet ﷺ. Then you release your hands in the beginning of your tawaf, and now lower your hands with your palms facing outwards towards Hajr al-Aswad and say Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. This is known as istilam, because we cannot directly kiss the Kaaba, we cannot directly touch the Kaaba, so we are just going to point towards this and we're going to say Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. Lightly kiss both of your palms or either your right hand, turn your spot towards your left shoulder and is facing towards Hajr al-Aswad, and commence and start doing your tawaf itself. Once you start doing your tawaf, do not look around. Focus towards your Hajj itself. Upon completion of 1 round, turn your face and the chest towards Hajar Aswad. And again, do istilam. Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. So 7 rounds, you're going to do 8 istilam. 1 in the beginning, 1 in the end. 1 in the beginning, 1 at the end. So once your 7 rounds are complete, you have completed them. Your tawaf is complete, and after the 7th round, do the Islam for the 8th time. This is sunnah mu'akkada. You finish that. Now also, you will when it's so rush, this is the corner of Hajj al-Aswad. There is a green light that you see, which is the starting point of the tawaf itself. So if you cannot really see, just make sure that you look at the green light and you look at Hajar Aswad when it's both, similar and parallel towards it. You just do Bismillahi Allahu Akbar, because it's very hard to know that if you're really, really facing, and this is how much people you will see at that time doing that as well. In the first 3 rounds, male are required to do ramal. What is ramal? To walk hastily, taking short steps, pushing the chest outwards and moving the shoulders a little bit. Women will walk normally, no ramal to be done in remaining 4 rounds. Only the first 3 rounds you will do ramal, but you will have your shoulder uncovered for the 7 rounds. Note, if one forgets to do the ramal in the first 3 rounds, then do not do ramal in the last rounds, as ramal is sunnah only in the first 3 rounds. You forgot in the first 3, I'll say I'll do it in the 4th, 5th, 6th. No. If you forgot the first 3, that's fine. It's nothing going to affect your umrah itself. So you go around and of course 7 times. While performing tawaf, you may do the following. It's better to stay engaged in dhikr and dua. Recite Quran is also permissible. Recite the following dua. Allahumma inni as'aluka afwa wal afiya fi dunya wal akhirah. You can never ask for a better dua than afiyat and forgiveness in dunya and akhirah. If Allah forgives you in dunya and akhirah, and if Allah makes your life with afiyat, comfort in dunya and akhirah, what else can you ask for? If Allah can give you afiyat and forgiveness in dunya and akhirah, you have the best of the both this world. So of course, many things can be done. But this is one of the dua that you can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is sunnah to wipe both hands, or just the right over the Rukn Yamani, that corner before the Hajar Aswad. But of course, there are so many people, we should just avoid that as well. Important masail regarding tawaf: do not talk about worldly affairs, do not gaze at the Kaaba, to turn towards your face and chest towards Bismillah during tawaf. Only your face and your chest. Do not turn yourself completely. Do not look at the Kaaba. Do not look around. This is your ibadah. It's like your salah. You're making salah when you're doing tawaf. So make sure that you're engaged and you're fully read. Read in a low voice. It is impermissible to read very loud, which will cause disturbance to others. Yes, people will be doing it, but you can rectify and correct everyone. For the tawaf followed by a sa'i, one will do ittiba as well as the ramal in the first 3 rounds. Going further after tawaf, you cover your shoulders, perform 2 rakats of wajib salat tawaf behind Maqam Ibrahim. If you don't find Maqam Ibrahim, you can perform anywhere that you can actually. Ensure that it is not makruh time, disliked time. Then after your tawaf is done, your 2 rakats are done. First rakat, Qul Yal Kafirun, Qul Huwallahu Ahad. It's time for you to make dua. Lot of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now make dua at multazim or in front of it if it's possible. Multazim is again the place between Hajar al-Aswad and the door itself. Face that way and make as much dua as you can. Then after this, your tawaf is done, your 2 rakats is done, you make dua towards multazim, and now it's time for you to drink zamzam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would drink a lot of zamzam. And the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned something so beautiful in the hadith. Al-ma'u zamzam lima shuriba lahu. As Shaykh always mentions and reminds us that zamzam, Allahu Akbar, love this hadith. Whatever you ask Allah, Allah will give you. Whatever you ask Allah, Allah will give you. Dunya, akhirat, izzat, respect, mal, whatever you ask, Allah's qasam, Allah will give you. These are words of Rasulullah. That ma'u zamzam, the water of zamzam, lima, whatever you ask for, Allah will provide for you. So you ask Allah subhanahu. 3 things that Rasulullah would always ask for. Rasulullah would ask for, Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'an. Oh Allah, I ask you for knowledge which is beneficial. Wa rizqan wasi'an, and rizq that is wasi and abundant. Wa shifa'an min kulli da'in, and health and cure from all disease. These were the 3 dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ilme nafi, rizq wasi, and shifa. 3 things Rasulullah would always ask for, but we can ask for anything that we want. Making istilam of Hajj al-Aswad for the 9th time, please don't forget that. This is mustahab. This is recommended. Rasulullah performed the 9th istilam after drinking zamzam and going toward Safa and Marwa itself. This is the maqam of multazam that I was talking about between Hajj al-Aswad and the door. And of course, you'll see all this, the police guys standing there. As one of our alims was saying that, someone who slaughters the zabiyah halal meat, he said they recite zikr of Allah hundreds and thousands of times. He says he's doing it as a job, But if this guy was doing it as a remembrance of Allah, he would become the awliya of Allah, right? 100,000 bismillahs every day, mashallah, So subhanAllah, this guy stands at multazim every day, SubhanAllah, what a great responsibility. But what a maqam that is. What a maqam that is to be there. So Rasulullah made a lot of dua in this. If you cannot directly touch it, stand across it, face that way and make dua. It is the time of acceptance of dua. Proceed towards the place of sa'i, which is known as masa. Sa'i literally means to run and to haste, to walk a little faster. Make intention of sa'i while you go on top of Safa and Marwa. This side, this place right here where the cursor is moving is known as Safa. This place is known as Marwa. It has about 4 to 5 floors. One is accessible for the wheelchairs and the others are accessible for us to walk. You go on top of Safa and you say, oh Allah, I make the niyat of sa'i between Safa and Marwa 7 laps for the pleasure of Allah, hence make it easy for me and accept this from me. Stand facing the Qibla, raising your hands in dua. Do not raise your hands like the takbir itself. Just like this, like you make your dua itself, then recite takbir, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah 3 times, durood and blessings on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and commence your sa'i. Do the same at Marwa when you reach there, and make any dhikr dua during sa'i and refrain from worldly talk. It is sunnah to recite Rabbi ighfir warham wa anta al-a'azzul akram. This is the dua that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would recite when he would making sa'i between Safa and Marwa. Safa to Marwa is 1 lap. Marwa to Safa is the 2nd lap. One will start at Safa and finish at Marwa. Between the 2 green pillars, men are required to run with a slow pace and women will walk at a normal pace itself. The sa'i area is approximately ½ kilometer each round. So the total 7 round is about less than 3.5 kilometers. You do your miles yourself. This is from England, so I don't know what that means. 3.5 kilometers itself. So, but it doesn't feel that much. Inshallah, you will be okay. And of course, the one who takes us that far, Allah will give us the strength to do what is correct itself. This is the physical location you will see. This is the Safa Marwa. The middle portions itself where I'm moving the cursor is for the wheelchairs. And of course, these are the green maqam or the green signs where you actually have to move a little faster. If you have family with you, make sure that you keep them with you. Do not run too fast. Important points regarding sa'i. It is better to do sa'i on the ground floor and permissible to do on the top floors as well. Wudu is preferable for sa'i but not necessary. If you don't have wudu and you still perform sa'i, it's okay but it's not recommended. But it's of course better to have your wudu in every action that you're performing Hajj. It is not necessary to climb all the way on top of the Safa itself. You can just be in the surrounding area where it says the mountain of Safa, and that is okay. Dam will become wajib by doing sa'i on wheelchair without an excuse. I didn't write that. So this is the first time I heard this. So just excuse that. We have to check this with Qari Ubaidullah Sahib. He will give us the final fatwa. So I'm just using someone's presentation. But we should try our best. If we don't need a wheelchair, don't use it. Make sure you walk with it. It's much easier and comfortable. After you're done with your umrah itself, if you're doing tamattu, not qiran. In qiran, you're not going to touch anything. If you're doing halaq or qasr, do halaq, shave the entire head. Halaq, of course, is more virtuous, or qasr, which means trim the hair of the entire head, at least equivalent to the first joint of the finger, which means this much. If you're going to keep your hair for the Hajj to do qasr, halaq and shave completely, then at least a fingertip of your hair from all sides should be trimmed and cut, which is known as qasr itself. Umrah is now completed and all the restrictions of ihram are lifted for that individual. Now it is permissible to trim and shave your own hair or someone else's after all rituals have been complete. If you want to cut your own hair and trim your own hair, if a woman wants to cut her own hair to come out of ihram, she can do so if she has an intention, if all the rituals are complete, and of course she can come out of ihram itself. While in Mecca, remain in Mecca until the 7th of Zul-Hajjah. Refrain from all sins. Continue to prompt with salah. Perform nafli tawaf as much as you can. You don't need anything extra for nafli tawaf. You just need to wear your normal clothing. Go inside the haram. Go on the corner of Hajj al-Aswad. Oh Allah, I make intention and niyat of nafli tawaf. Accept this from me. Make this easy. Go around it 7 times and make 2 rakats. This is the most rewarding thing that you can do in Mecca. So perform a lot of nafli tawaf while you are in Mecca. That's the greatest thing that you can do. Engage in ibadah. Even just looking at the Kaaba itself is rewarding. And of course, go for ziyarat and look at the things around. Do not overwork yourself so that you can not perform your Hajj properly. Don't overdo it as well. Do as much as you can. Sustain yourself that you can properly perform your Hajj and manasik of Hajj itself. The days of Hajj are 5. 8 which is known as Yawm al-Tarwiyah, the 9th known as Yawm al-Arafah, the 10th, which is known as the Nahar and the day of Eid itself, and 11th and 12th are known as Tashriq, and of course the 13th as well for those who are staying late. Most likely, and of course don't hold me accountable for this, the 8th of Zul-Hajjah will most likely be a Jum'ah, will be a Friday, right? 8th of Zul-Hajjah will be a Friday. So for those who are already in Mecca in your hotels, you're just going to go to Mina right after your Fajr Salah is complete. But for those who are flying in from Medina, B1, B4, B5, you will be performing your Umrah right after your Fajr Salah, and right after your Umrah is complete by 9ish. We need to be out of the Haram and in Mina, because if we stay for a little bit longer, the rush of Jummah will become so busy that we won't be able to reach Mina itself. Yes, a lot of hearts will say, yeah, it's Hajj, let me stay for Jummah. But our Mina is a time of Hajj. That's much more rewarding for us. It's not for us to stay back there anymore. It's time for us to move towards Mina, because Rasulullah ﷺ performed his Dhuhr Salah in Mina itself. So even though there is Jummah Salah in Haram, but we have to be in Mina because it's the manasik, it's the reward that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us. So the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th itself are the days of Hajj. Again, travel light. For those brothers and sisters who will be traveling from Medina, except for the people in B5, you will have access to your hotel room. The rest of us, our luggages will be stored in the storage places, but take a hand carry, something that is light for you, that you can use for the next 3 to 4 days while you are in Mina and while you're staying in Mina itself. Because when you go to Arafah, you're not going to be carrying your hand carry with you. It will stay in the compartments on top of your Mina tents. So do not take extra things. But I recommend it definitely that you make sure that you take a hand carry with you once you reach Mina. In that, keep 2-3 extra pieces of clothing, because when you open your ihram after 2 days, for the next 3 days you're not going to be in ihram, so you can open your clothing, your medications, your towels, soap and things. All of that is provided by Al-Iman on top of your beds, and it's there itself. But anything that you will feel necessary for the 4 or 5 days that you are in Mina, make sure that you keep that in your hand carry. That will stay with you, that is beneficial for you. Last year, there were Quran that were given as well. You can keep your own Quran if you want, your dua books, your musalla, your tasbih, your snacks and biscuits, or whatever things that you extra want. And there's a lot of food and a lot of tea and a lot of drinks and a lot of ice cream, my throat. And a lot of good stuff that you can use at all times. But again, if you want something for yourself, you can have it in your backpack and keep those things with you. If you want additional pairs of clothing, sleeping bag from Muzdalifah, alhamdulillah, every year that we have been for many, many years, we are given a sleeping bag in Muzdalifah every year. So you really don't need to carry an extra sleeping bag just because of that. The most you can want, if you want, is carry a yoga mat. That's what I want. Like a little yoga mat, you get it for like $4 or $5. You can keep it with you so you can sit with comfort in Arafah or something like that. That's the most that you really want. Your soap, your shower towel, all that inshallah will be provided for you at that time. And of course, make sure you keep the details of Al-Iman cards, which Sheikh will talk about in just a few moments. I'm going to quickly go over this because I'm running out of time. Can we delay Salah here? I don't think so. So, Sheikh, what are you going to do? You're going to talk about this after Isha? Can I go with this? Are you guys okay? What should we do, Sheikh? After Isha is good. Sheikh Wahid wants to talk about 10 important minutes of logistics of Hajj that is very, very important. This is the key for all the things. So is it okay if I want to finish this quickly. Is anyone okay with 10 minutes, inshallah? Okay, all right, that's fine. So, okay. Huh? MashaAllah, good. So it is sunnah to depart from Mina after sunrise. However, a lot of tour operators decide to leave night before just to avoid the rush. But of course, we are very, very close. So we're going to go in the morning of the 8th of Zul-Hajjah. Wear your ihram in your hotel room. When you're in your hotel room in Mecca, wear your ihram itself. It is not necessary for you to go to Masjid al-Haram or Miqat or anywhere. However, it is preferable that you make your niyyah ihram in Masjid al-Haram itself. So you wear your ihram in your hotel rooms. You go downstairs inside the Masjid al-Haram. You make niyyah and intention for your Hajj. You make 2 rakats of salat, talbiyah, niyyah, and of course you will sit in your buses and you make intention followed by talbiyah, and you will perform and you will go towards Mina itself. Once we reach Mina itself on the 8th of Zul-Hajjah, remember this is the first day of Hajj. Your Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and the 8th of Zul-Hajjah and the Fajr of the 9th of Zul-Hajjah all will be performed in our Mina tents. If one is a Shari traveler, and of course we are Shari travelers, we will be making qasr. Our Imam Qari Ubaidullah Sahib, who's the Imam of this masjid as well, inshallah, he will be leading us in all of our salawat in Jamaat with qasr every single day in our tents itself. It is sunnah to spend the night in Mina. So the 8th, the whole day we are just there making salah, making dua. We are in ihram. This is our first day. We're getting used to ihram. We are getting used to all the things. While in Mina, recite Quran, dhikr, talbiyah, istighfar, tasbih, reflect, rest, prepare for the next important day, which is the day of Arafah itself. That day we will have khatiras, we will have talks. It will be myself, Sheikh Muhammad Shanawi, Sheikh Sami, many of the other people who will be present will be sharing thoughts with every one of us. Also be patient, avoid arguing, avoid complaining for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very important for us. This is something that you will see in Mina. There are around 100,000 air-conditioned tents in Mina. It's everywhere. This is a tent city itself. Wallahi, if you don't know where you are, you don't really know where you are. So it's better to be very close to where we remain. Usually our tents, when they are open like this is not our presentation, but this is someone else's. But this is usually our tents like this. That you have your pillows, you have your blankets, and these beds actually become sofas as well. So they get pulled back and they become your own sofa. So you can sit on them, relax, and at nighttime you pull them open and you can actually sleep on them as well. Extra thing that we have on top is that on top we have a railing where you can keep your extra luggage. So luggage is not on our feet, nowhere else. It's on top of us. You can easily keep them with you. Every entrance has a door to itself, so you know. And all the places which you will have designated places of where you will be staying in each place itself. So now on the morning of the 9th of Zul-Hajjah, your first day of Hajj is already gone. Most important day of Hajj is the second day, which is Yawmul Arafah. Even a moment's stay from noon till the dawn of the next day is sufficient to fulfill the obligation. Pray your Fajr Salah in Mina. From this Salah Fajr, Takbiratul Tashriq, which means Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd, will continue till the Asr of the 13th of Zul-Hajjah, which is 23 salawat. First read the Takbir and of course then recite the Talbiyah. Now we will leave towards Arafah after the sunrise. We will go towards Arafah. To leave before it, of course, is against Sunnah, but sometimes, and kindly note this point right here, kindly note this, that sometimes the Saudi government makes this mandatory for certain groups to leave in the middle of the night. Like last year or year before, Darus Salam, Al Iman, and the VIP tents were all made to leave before making our Fajr Salah. That is also acceptable. Your Hajj doesn't break. We actually made our Fajr in Arafah itself because they take us before the rush actually begins. Once we made Fajr in Mina itself, so it's perfectly fine. But just make sure that we stay together. All 400 of us will be together, so make sure that we stay together in that very particular journey. So once we leave and we leave our Mina tents, there are escalators. We will take these escalators and it will take us towards the train station. If you are in the need of using a wheelchair, there are accessible wheelchair places. There are golf carts that you can sit on golf carts and they will take you to the train station. So alhamdulillah, there's a lot of ease and comfort that you can really do. But from our Mina tent to our train, it's about 12 minutes, 15 minutes walk itself. It's not a lot. If you're walking and you're doing tasbih and dua, you walk there, you get in front of your trains, the train's door open, you sit inside the AC train, and the train takes you into Arafah in less than 15 minutes. In 12 minutes, you are in Arafah. So hours and hours of walk is just cut to 12 minutes that you are in Arafah in just a few moments. So we leave after Fajr, inshallah, most likely, but depending, sometimes we have to leave early as well. Rest and relieve yourself of all necessities before Zawal, the plains of Arafah, in the middle of Arafah itself. When the day of Arafah actually begins itself, wuquf of Arafah, staying in Arafah is fard. It is the farz of Hajj. The wuquf itself, the staying of it itself is the time from Zawal, the midday, all the way towards Subh Sadiq. But the wajib, the compulsory time is from Zawal itself, which is the midday towards Maghrib, Ghurub itself. And after Ghurub, we will leave towards Muzdalifah itself. So the time that we are spending in Arafah, which is the most important time, is from the midday Zawal all the way towards Ghurub itself. This is Masjid Namira. You will see it very close to your tent, but please do not try to go there. If you go there, you're going to miss your tent, you're going to miss your Arafah, you're going to get caught up in all this rush, and you're not going to go where you are. We're going to have all of the bayanat, the talk, the khutbah, and everything taken care of within our own tents. So you do not actually have to be in Masjid Namira. Everything will be taken care of within our tents itself. Methods of wuquf: perform wudu, ghusl if possible before itself. You will be in ihram. You read your zuhr salah, your wuquf will begin, engage in tilawa, cry and repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, within Arafah itself, we'll have our dhuhr, we'll have our asr, we'll have our khutbah, we'll have our dua. According to one of the sayings of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala anhu, if you are not behind Imam al-Hajj, then you make dhuhr and asr on your separate time. So for those brothers and sisters who follow that opinion, would want to make their asr, you have a choice that will be open to make your asr at a later time. We'll have shuyukh who will lead dhuhr and asr combined together. For those who would want to do that in the tent, it will also be there. So we want to really make sure that everyone's needs are fulfilled properly and no one feels left out. During the course of our tent, we'll have our lunch. We'll also have time to do reflection of dua and khatira, a reminder, softening of our hearts, and all of that will be reminded during the course of Arafah itself. And of course, it is time for you to make lots and lots and lots of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which I will talk about inshallah in detail when we get to Medina, when we are in Arafah itself. Once the ghurub actually happens, we will leave Mina, we'll leave Arafah, we'll go and walk towards the train station and we'll take our trains. This time is very critical and difficult. It's night, it's tough, there are a lot of people. A lot of people lose their Hajj at that time. Right after Arafah, they lose it because they have to wait in lines because it's dark, it's late, and sometimes it's 2 to 3 hours. Yes, it's 2 to 3 hours. You have to wait in lines till you catch your train itself. So once I humbly request you, if a group tells you to move, please move with them. They are not going to, inshallah, break any of your rulings of your Hajj. They are not going to take you out of Arafah before ghurub. Don't ever think so. We're also there for Hajj itself. If you are told to move from your tents, it doesn't mean we're leaving Arafah. It means we're getting closer to the train station. The trains do not leave Arafah before the Maghrib Adhan. So it's not possible. So just move along with the group. Stay together, please. This is very, very important for us. Once we grab our train, inshallah, and we leave that night and we reach towards Muzdalifah, that's the time, inshallah, the adhan will be given, the iqamah will be given, the farz of Maghrib will be made, the farz of Isha will be made, and of course, this is the time that we spend our time in Muzdalifah itself. While we are in Muzdalifah, and of course, we collect our pebbles as well. Last time, alhamdulillah, in many previous years, are we having pebbles? We will, inshallah, get our collected pebbles. And I shared this funny story with us. It was the middle of the night. We finished our Maghrib and Isha. I was sitting down. There's a guy with Al-Iman t-shirt. He's holding a big pot like this. And usually I do a lot of nikahs. So they have these little pouches with the bride's and groom's name. So it had a lot of pouches on it, said Al-Iman. So I was like, who's getting married in Muzdalifah, right? We're still in Ihram. So when they pass around these pouches actually had these pebbles collected. So you will get your pebbles too, inshallah. I've seen some brothers, Brother Wahid, some brothers actually threw out the pebbles and they collected them again, just so they thought that they collected it themselves. So it's up to them. You can do whatever you want with those pebbles, but you will get your pebbles, inshallah. Of course, these pebbles will be used. That night, Muzdalifah is going to be hot. The floor is concrete. Even though there is carpet, there is sleeping bag, but it's going to be at least 120, 30 degrees in the morning. The heat is intense. But ask Allah for afiyat. It's one of the best nights that I sleep. I'm the last one to get up every night in Muzdalifah. I'm the last one running to make wudu. It's one of the blessed nights. So you take some rest, you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's full of barakah and blessings. There are tons of bathrooms which are present. Blue color, pink color, which of course designate the brothers and the sisters side. There are 3 floors to it: the basement, the first, and the second floors. Don't rush to the first floor. People leave the second floor, people leave the basement. So you have enough access to having your bathrooms itself. Wuquf of Muzdalifah means that it's helpful to note that the salat time, as soon as the Makkah time, meaning as soon as the Fajr enters, we make our Fajr salat. The wuquf of Muzdalifah is very important. What is wuquf of Muzdalifah? Right after your Fajr salat is done in Muzdalifah, you stand up and make dua. This is a very important time to make dua as well. So as I said, seeing the Kaaba in Arafah, wuquf in Muzdalifah time of dua is very important. So when you finish your Fajr on the 10th of Dhul-Hajjah, please make sure that you make lots and lots of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remain in Muzdalifah as long as you can. And before Subah Sadiq, we will go and take our trains and we will go towards Mina itself. The trains in 5 to 10 minutes will take us towards there. On the 3rd day, when we reach there, this is known as the day of Eid for the humanity, all the people. But for us, it is known as Yawmun Nahar.
4 important things need to be done that particular morning. First thing that we do when we reach Mina, of course from our trains, is we go and pelt the stones to the big Jamara. 7 stones to the big Jamara. We don't do any other stones, only the big Jamara itself. 7 things that we need to do. These 7 stones that we throw, we say Allahu Akbar every time. Ajib hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, every stone of Jamara that you throw towards shaitan, Allah forgives subhanahu wa ta'ala such a big sin of a person. If it was not forgiven, it would have destroyed this person on the day of Qiyamah. Halak karne wala guna Allah maaf farmate hain, har kenkri ke saath. Every pebble that you throw, Allah forgives a sin that if it was not forgiven, a person would be destroyed on the day of Qiyamah. So throwing 7 stones the first day, then we come back to our tents, then our group leaders will make announcement and they will tell us when our nahar is complete. There's a Sheikh Dr. Yasir, who is one of the shuyukh of Mecca, he's the one who's responsible for our udhiyah. Once he completes our udhiyah and he makes the sacrifice, he will call Sheikh Wahid and the rest of the brothers. Sheikh Rami, Dr. Rami will be with us, who will make the announcement, and they will tell us that our nahar is complete, and then we can proceed towards our third step, that is halaq and qasr, which is the shaving, the trimming of the hair, and then of course you're out of the conditions and restrictions of ihram itself. Now, this is your ihram itself, and now you have the choice that during this day you can go and perform your tawaf al-ziyarah. If you want, you can go perform tawaf al-ziyarah, but remember these 4 words: past, pelting the stones, animal sacrifice, shaving of the hair, and tawaf al-ziyarah. They are all particular order. They must be done in this very particular order. The first 3 are to be done, which in order are wajib and compulsory itself. Once in Mina, now our duty is just to pelt the stones for the next few days. What is tawaf al-ziyarah? Tawaf al-ziyarah means you go around the tawaf of the Kaaba 7 times and you also do sa'i. Please do not forget to do sa'i with your tawaf al-ziyarah, which is also known as tawaf the tawaf of your Hajj itself, ifadah itself. People sometimes do 7 rounds and they come back. No, there is a sa'i with your tawaf al-ziyarah. You make sure that you perform your sa'i itself. Once you come back, your tawaf al-ziyarah and your sa'i is complete, the buses inshallah will take us to Haram. They will bring us back in the middle of the night, so when it's easy and comfortable. Once we are in Mina, now our responsibility is just to pelt the stones to the big Jamara. And of course, we must do that. So now, this is the space of Jamara itself. This is how it looks like where we throw the stones itself. This is the map. I will share all this with you. Inshallah, I'll put this on our website itself. Come to the big Jamara, Jamaratul Aqbara. Stop your talbiyah. Hold the pebbles between your thumb and your index finger. And of course, you throw your Jamara. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Rajman li-shaytan. Wa darr rahman. And of course, we throw the stones towards that. Please don't throw your slippers. Only if you have extra, you can do those. Last days, I've seen people throw slippers as well. So please make sure that you are only throwing pebbles and stones. Don't hurt anyone. Just go at a time which is easy and comfortable. A lot of time when we go towards the Jamarat, and I'm going to go back. When we are going towards Jamarat is a huge wall. So everyone gets busy stoning in the beginning. Go to the end and throw the stones. It's usually no one there. A lot of time people start throwing right in the beginning. Go towards the end of the wall and throw the stones. It's much easier and much comfortable for the person. So right here at this wall, people will start throwing right as soon as they see. This side is usually all empty. So you cross all the people, go towards the end and pelt your stones. It's much easier and much more comfortable for you. And of course, Qurbani and Qasr, and this is already talked about, the 4th and the 5th day, the 11th and 12th, the only thing that we need to do is after Zawal, after the midday, we have to go and pelt 7 stones 3 times. 7 stones to the small Jamara, then make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 7 stones to the middle shaitan, then make dua. 7 stones to the large shaitan, and there is no dua. Then there is nothing else to do the whole day. Then the next day will come, the 5th day. You only have to do the same thing again. We pelt the stone 7 times, 7 times, and 7 times, and there is nothing else to do. If you're in your groups which are B5 and the other groups which have hotel access, you will be taken towards your hotel at that time. The rest of the brothers will remain in B5 have access. The rest of the brothers will remain and sisters will remain in Mina for day 6 as well. We will be in Dhul Hajjah, and of course the 13th of Dhul Hajjah, which is day 6, we will also be there. And of course, this is the 3rd day of Jamarat itself. We will be pelting 777 again, and as soon as we are done after Zawal, we will be taken towards our Makkah hotels. And at that time, you have enough time, 2-3 days while you're staying there, that you can do your Tawaf al-Wida. It is recommended that before women may become impure or impurities may come, it is better to do your tawaf al-wida as quickly as possible. Tawaf al-wida only has tawaf, it does not have any sa'i. Once you perform your 7 rounds in tawaf al-wida, you are complete. If a sister or a woman becomes impure before tawaf al-wida is done, they can leave it. They can leave it. There is no dham and nothing upon them. It is perfectly fine. And this is just something related to Hajj itself. And of course, there's a lot more to cover, inshallah. Once we reach Haram and once we reach Mecca, inshallah, we'll have a lot more of these events and a lot more of these programs, inshallah. We have one seminar tomorrow from 11 to 1. That's in Masjid ICLI Westbury. Next Saturday, we have in Masjid Al-Baqi from 11 to 1 again. So we have 2 more seminars. If you would want to join us, inshallah, you can kindly join us. And we'll have continuous seminars in Medina and also, inshallah, reminders during the course of Hajj itself. Kindly stay with us after Salah, inshallah. And right after the Salah, we'll have Sheikh Wahid, inshallah, takes 15 minutes with us, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, inshallah, to talk about logistics of Hajj and the details, questions you have. May Allah accept from all of us, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilaik. I apologize to the local brothers. I know you're punctual on your time. Forgive me for the 4 minutes which were extra, please.